You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we will be talking about England's latest miracle. It's 6 from 7 for Bazball. Is it 6 from 7 for Bazball?
7 from 8, mate.
It's 7 from 8 for Bazball. It's 1-0 away for Bazball. There's Bazball shit going on everywhere, and England continue to be the greatest cricket team on the face of planet Earth. I'm Jack Hope. We are, of course, going to be talking about England's heroic victory in Rawalpindi over Pakistan. I'm joined by Max Rowe Brown to do that. How are you doing, Max Rowe Brown?
Hello. Very well. Thank you. Yeah, England, best team in the world, best team in the universe, probably.
And we have the third wheel in play, Ross Legg. How are you doing, Ross Legg?
Supporting you both as per usual.
I'm not even sure if I'm confident with the comfortable with the third wheel analogy there.
Well, I'm just impressed. England were literally shitting themselves the day before they played, and they have run away and managed to win with a 74-run win. It's something to celebrate.
Yeah, it's at least it's an early Christmas miracle. I like to think. England 657. Pakistan 579. England 264 for 7 declared. We'll talk about that. Pakistan 268 all out with probably about 10 minutes to go. The most runs in a test match since they stopped doing timeless tests.
Mm-hmm.
The most runs in a test match with a result. Pretty crazy stuff. I am going to enjoy Max's probably quite boring summary with a really exciting end in a moment. But first of all, we are going to plug how you can support the podcast, aren't we, Ross?
We are indeed. You should go to patreon.com/the cricket pod and sign up because it's fair to say the World Cup, the IPL, and now the England Bazball era has breathed fresh life into cricket, and the Discord channel is ridiculous. It is notification central. The conversations there are genuinely some of the most insightful bits of cricket you'll ever see. So it's lovely. You should also go to Twitter and Instagram, follow us at the Cricket Pod, and get involved.
Ross, I believe you lost a bet and you need to pay up for that bet to one of our Patreons.
Yeah, I do. So are we doing that now?
Yeah, do that now, and then we'll do the rest of the podcast.
Okay, so the bet was around, and I've had a few bets of this guy, Sudeep, and I've won 3, lost 1. And the one I've lost is saying that for the World Cup that's just been, he bet that a Indian cricketer would be the best batsman, who hit the most runs in the tournament, and that was Virat Kohli. And the payment, I believe, is 5 podcasts, maybe 6 podcasts with a fact about Virat and praising Virat Kohli. And as we know, I'm the biggest Virat Kohli fan in world cricket and in the world in general. And so it's an honour for me to present this fact to you, that he is the only man to take a wicket on the 0 ball of his career. Do you know this?
Does he get someone stumped off
wide?
It's correct, Max. His first wicket was none other than Kevin Peterson, which Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So you have to praise Dhoni for this fact, obviously. Really, like with everything. Kohli down the leg side, stumping. Technically, the 0 ball of his cricketing career.
Cool. How many of these facts?
Very good stat. Well done.
That is great. How many of the Kohli facts do you have to deliver? Is it 5?
I think it's 5, and I've started strongly there. So
that's a really good start. Yeah. So make sure you subscribe to the Cricket Podcast for the next.
And if
four.
If there are any advertisers listening, there's a new segment open for sponsorship.
Yeah, Ross facts. Maximus, you have to summarise the cricket. I've got some strong feelings about this test. I'm looking forward to talking about it. But let's have the summary first.
Well, the summary, I've actually gone quite brief, so we can get into that fairly quickly. Jack said enough anyway. After a virus ripped through the England camp and left us wondering whether we'd even get a game, a pitch more docile than a rabbit on ketamine left us wondering the same thing. But as it's happened, England have ended up, as you have both alluded to so far, England ended up with a test victory that was as unlikely as it was impressive, I'd say. Pakistan did play their part as well, particularly in choosing not to bother to go for the seemingly manageable task of knocking off 90 runs with 5 wickets in hand at the end. But after 4 England centuries, 3 Pakistan centuries, a record for the fastest Test century by an England opener, a
A
record
partridge in a
for
pear
the-
tree.
a record for the fastest century by an England number 3. 921 runs in 137 overs. That's a net run rate of about 6.75 over the course of the test for England. Most runs ever in a 5-day test, as you said, Jack. A bold declaration with a capital B, and Jack Leach taking the final wicket, only wicket for a spinner in that 4th innings, just before the sun dropped below the horizon. It was as unexpected as you could possibly imagine, but we should give all plaudits to England. All of them, Jack, except for the ones that you and I need to give ourselves, because actually, in that preview, we basically nailed it.
Yeah. 10 minutes 38 in, if you go back to the last episode, Max predicts almost exactly what will happen in this test.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he even gets the declaration in. it's pretty incredible.
Max Stradamus is how he is.
It was a real Max Stradamus moment. My executive summary of the test match is that it was maybe the most boring test match I've ever seen.
For 3 days?
4. 3.2 session, 3.6.
3.5. The second half of yesterday was quite exciting with the declaration.
And then actually a lot today wasn't very exciting as well. So I think we can say over 4 of the 5 days were rubbish. Probably up till tea. And then it got quite good for about an hour. And people are saying this is one of the greatest tests of all time. And we're supposed to be excited by it. 10-month IPL, that's what I say.
You miserable git. So that's what I think about that.
Go on, tell me why I'm wrong.
Literally, England have not only hit the most runs in a single day on a test match in the first day of it. We've done the biggest Bazballs out declaration of all time. We have seen Pakistan pretty much be gifted like an 80% chance of winning, and then they fuck it up. And you're sitting there going, "How? What's not to like about that whole situation?" I think
I didn't say weird shit didn't happen. I'm just saying like it was appalling. For ages, it took somebody literally saying this is completely pointless and we're just going to turn it into a friendly, more or less, with that declaration. To I'm maybe not friendly, but someone who's just like, I don't give a shit about all of the tradition and the accepted norms of this sport. I don't believe that anyone who has ever fought for a draw ever in the history of Test cricket, basically, I don't think it was worth doing that. I'm prepared completely to throw away the chance of victory, to take my team's chances of winning from 10 to maybe 20%, maybe 15%, and to give the other team an increase in odds from 1% to 85% with that declaration. It took that to make it even at all interesting. That's what
did make it interesting.
Yeah, and then like Pakistan did what they should have done until right at the very end, and then did what Pakistan sometimes do in these situations and completely balls it up with 5 for 11 after tea. Like the freakishness of the result, I don't think makes up for the sheer boredom of the rest of the test. And I would go as far as saying I would quite happily drop the format completely if that's how Test cricket is going to be played. If people think that's good, if that's what we're aspiring to.
I don't think it was quite as boring as you're making out, Jack.
I thought it was
the pitch. The pitch was diabolical. We should probably get that in. It was as bad as Ahmedabad, basically. Maybe even worse.
I think it was worse.
Maybe even
at
worse.
least Ahmedabad it was funny.
Yeah, there was a result. Well, there was a result in this one, but the only way there was ever going to be a result in this test was England being mental in every facet of the game, which they did, and no other team, I think, in world cricket at the moment would have gone
England being
quite
brilliant,
so bizarre,
brilliant in every other facet of the game, not just mental.
Oh,
brilliant!
Well, they were insane, and they conducted those insane plans absolutely brilliantly. But I think to say it was all boring is quite it's going a bit too far, Jack, because it could have been really boring for the first 3 days, but it was actually only boring for the bit where Pakistan were batting, because England,
which was most of the test.
that was only half of it.
No, it was way more than half of it. I've got the number of balls down, the number of different balls, the difference in the number of balls. Pakistan batted for 691 more balls than England.
Well,
That's like a day.
First day.
That's an entire day.
The first day was great because it was carnage. You like carnage. Carnage is one of your favourite things.
Right. Okay. I would say the first day, 6 out of 10.
Right.
I think, look, it's great when a record falls, and it was really funny that Pakistan got the comeuppance that they deserve for this pitch, and I've got thoughts on this as well.
And a guy they picked went for 235.
Yeah, like I think that was really funny, and it completely deserved. And how stupid can you be to roll out that pitch when you know exactly what England are going to do? What did you think would happen? Picked a team of bowlers with about 4 caps between them.
They also picked a specific bowler who's really good on like nibbly surfaces that do a bit, which is what he'd been playing on for the entirety of the summer leading into this game, and gave him that. Gave him the oval on steroids.
England get 4 centuries. None of those centuries are worth a real century, but it was funny. 500 in a day is, absolute jokes, and the most on the first day of the test. Also, wasn't it like the second most ever in a day or something like that?
Yeah,
behind,
and it was in like 75 overs as well.
Sri Lanka v Bangladesh, and that was literally 30 more overs. Or 29 more overs. So it was nuts, like absolutely nuts. And full credit to England for playing like that. It was good. Then day 2 was awful. Then day 3 was.
I agree with you on that one. I tried to watch it in the morning. I was like, oh my god.
In fairness, I paid no attention to day 2 because I knew exactly what was going to happen.
That was a 1 out of 10. That was a 1 out of 10. Day 3, I would say probably a 2 out of 10 because England managed to take a couple of late wickets. And after this, people were writing it up. People were like, England take late wickets to take control of the test.
England on top. Like, yeah, right.
They've got no chance of winning this game. Then day 4, maybe a 4 out of 10. And that's only really because of the declaration. It's the only notable thing I think about the whole of day 4 is
Harry Brooks.
Harry Brooks' innings was incredible.
Was it?
Yeah. Some of the shots he was playing were ridiculous. Joe Root batted left-handed. Come on.
That was a sad indictment of the day.
I didn't know what was going. At that point, I literally thought I was having a stroke. I was just like, I looked up. Zahid Mahmood was coming around the wicket, and someone left-handed was batting, and I was like, "Wait, what?
Did he do this for more than 1 ball?"
No, he only batted left-handed for 1 ball.
He
nearly
got
caught, and then decided that instead he would just play a reverse sweep for the next 5 deliveries.
Yeah, so see, look, a sad indictment of the situation in the game.
Kind of the whole of Globetrotters.
I
thought it was fantastic.
It was like that. It was like that. But it was sheer, like, at least there's some comedy value. At least there's some comedy value in that. Then Stokes gets the tee, and he's, I don't know, it's can't be bothered anymore or something. Makes a declaration. We can get into these points and talk about whether it was a good declaration. I lay my cards. I don't think it was really. I don't think it really achieved anything. As it's turned out, though, as a lot of things in Ben Stokes' career, it has come down Ben, and they did bowl well. I think today. I think the actual good bit of cricket was England's bowling today, where they made it difficult enough for Pakistan, and then when they managed to finally get it reversing, were genuinely dangerous in the conditions for the first time in the match, which is good. Pakistan, like, fucking hell. Like,
could you please just appreciate Pakistan's approach that in the first 14 overs of this morning's play, they hit 13 runs.
Well, I was going to say this. I was going to say exactly this. I mean, like, you have been gifted an opportunity to win a game of cricket on an absolute featherbed. What are they doing? I've got no respect for this team. I think they're humiliatingly bad and humiliating. They're cowards. They were cowards in this test match.
They were. No, that is fair.
There's a whole load involved in this as well.
Remember when England refused to chase that game against New Zealand?
Worse than, because this starts way before. This isn't some aberration of a pitch. Well, Ramiz Raja went on Test Match Special and said, "This is, we're a few years away from being able to produce a good Test cricket pitch at the moment." It's like, it's a lie, mate. It's a complete lie, because anybody with Google can look up the scores at this ground in first class cricket and see that this isn't what's happening. Like, it's a complete lie. They told their broadcast team to not say anything about the pitch, like to not say that it was flat. They banned the word flat on the Pakistani broadcast. Like, who do these people think the public watching this are? They think they're that fucking stupid that they can't go on Twitter and see what everyone's saying about it.
Cricket, the anorak score.
or alternatively, watch the cricket.
But and then the most egregious lie of all is that somehow the players have got nothing to do with this. This has got the players' dirty hands all over it. That you don't fucking end up on this pitch unless Babar Azam and the Brains Trust come together and think, I don't trust my bowlers. I think we're going to play for a draw here. And I back myself effectively to make this game so boring that we'll get the Test match points that we need, the draw that we need, which is not what they need. They actually need to win this. They don't take into account the fact that England, on the only difficult surface they played on all summer, or one of the only difficult, there's a couple of other difficult ones as well, got annihilated by South Africa, and every single time it was flat, destroyed the opposition, walked into like an obvious trap, and then when England literally gave them a chance, refused to fucking try and win. Rizwan took 24 balls to get off the mark. He opens the batting in their T20 team.
Yeah, but it's about the same strike rate, really.
It's unbelievable. And how fucking stupid is this plan too?
I love that you've gone off the longest run-up you've gone off on the podcast.
They've done this for 4 tests in a row at home, and they're fucking 2-0 down. They've managed. Sri Lanka rolled over South Australia. Sri Lanka managed to pick up a win. England, could you have a clearer template to beat England in Asia than India last year? Not even 18 months ago. What do you think Ben Duckett's going to transform the entire team? No.
His first ball duck or second ball duck was good.
Come on. I'm so glad it happened. I've got absolutely zero respect for Pakistan, the way they've played this, the way they've set the pitch up. Fair play to the crowd that turned up to watch it. They were really good value. Everything else about this performance from Pakistan, from the planning to the execution, the way they batted, the way they bowled, their ambition, their lack of ambition. Cowards.
17 years.
17 years for this.
Yeah. That was what perplexed me about that, actually. 17 years since England had come over, and you roll out that. You pick Muhammad Ali based on his performance.
Boxing record.
Yeah, why not? Based on his performance in the Pakistani first class season, where he's played really well. And then you decide that what's the perfect thing that an 80-mile-an-hour trundler needs? The flattest deck in the history of cricket. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, have they ever seen England play in Australia?
Did you hear Andy Saltzman on Muhammad Ali?
No.
Floats like a bee, floats like a bee, stings like a butterfly.
Oh, right, yeah.
Awful. Some of the worst cricket I've ever seen.
The selection as well. Like, the selection was bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, what is Zahid Mahmood doing in that side?
Yeah, he took 4 for, mate.
He did.
235 runs.
Yeah. Do you want those 4 wickets for 235? I'm not sure.
You backed up in the second innings, 11 overs for 84.
One of the best things about this is that England's batting approach. How many Centurions we got? We've got Zach Crawley, Duckett,
4.
Well, Pope and Brooks. So that's pretty staggering. My bit was that Ollie Robinson, who looks like a genuine number 11 when he's ever played anywhere else.
No, he doesn't.
I think that isn't true. Ollie Robinson could bat.
37. But what I was really impressed
Ross,
with is
Ross
how...
is basically, if you're not a number 6 or 7, you look like a
You're
number
number
11. Ross's team sheets go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11.
Yeah, well, that's my
always the case.
Get Ollie Robinson's test record up,
Joffrey
and I'll
Archer,
tell you.
11.
I'll show you a number 11 with a better test average than Ollie Robinson has. That could be a claim. But what I was really impressed with is, Max, we'll get back to the cricket here, is one of your Surrey boys in Ollie Pope.
You must be fucking knackered.
Ollie Pope, a century in the first innings, he kept pretty well, other than when he almost dropped the test match in the last 25 minutes. He was very, very good. And I love the fact that England were just like, I don't care that you've kept for this long, you're still going to bat at 3. When we could have just dropped him down the order. I very much appreciate that, and I thought he was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, he obviously batted brilliantly on, a pitch that helped you bat brilliantly. But yeah, no, I thought he kept well. He kept very well for not a keeper. What was it? It was like his 8th or 9th?
7 catches in the game.
8th or 9th game in first-class cricket keeping, and it's his 2nd test keeping in first-class cricket. But I do have to wonder why England didn't pick a backup wicket-keeper. Because, I mean, for all the good he did do, obviously, he held his own admirably behind the stumps. There were a couple of moments where if you have a genuine wicket-keeper, things get taken. There was like a stumping that was a bit late on, a sort of a nick off the spinners earlier in the game. And then obviously that catch at the end where quite obviously that was like brain frazzled, knackered. I mean, I've been there after 40 overs, let alone God knows how many he had to put out. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy for Ollie and how he's done it. And I'm happy for Will Jacks as well and his 6 wickets. That was the one thing we were wrong about, wasn't it, Jack? We thought that Jacks would play over Livingston. They went for Livingston, but obviously Ben Folkes being ill meant Jacks got his chance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just proving my point, by the way. So Test cricket, Ollie Robinson averages 10 with the bat.
That's 10. Not bad. That isn't bad.
That's much better than a number 11.
Trent Bolt, number 11, 15. Just saying. There you go.
That is way better than you think it is. If you average 12, you're quite a good number 9 in Test cricket. Robinson probably should average 12 and be quite a good number 9. So
anyway, let's talk about Harry Brook.
Do we have to talk about Harry Brook?
I think so, because he had a bit of a point to prove. He didn't really set the World Cup alight.
No, I don't want to. He was good. He was good.
He turned into almost like peak Kevin Peterson. Like when I was watching him bat, I was just like, he's batting exactly like Kevin Peterson used to bat.
Lads, this is my problem with this whole thing. You could have got runs on this surface against that attack.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'd have run away from the seam Shah still.
Max, you would have chipped up a full toss to cover.
I think you could have got runs here. I think you'd have fancied it, Max.
Yeah.
Crawley did hit runs. Let's be fair. Crawley got his first time in Test match cricket. Who didn't hit runs? Twice scores over 25. That's good.
Is there a player on either team that didn't get runs?
Ben Stokes didn't get that many, but that's because he batted like
40.
Batted like a nutter.
40's runs. If you got 40, you'd say that's a good day.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. With Max's average of 19.
You go on, keep talking. Like there's some credit due. There's some credit due in the way England batted, I think. And
okay, why do we shift it? Why do we shift it to being England's approach in general? So the philosophy that they're actually focusing, right? They've got real clarity of vision. It's almost like a cult-like buy-in from the participants, and they're all drinking the Kool-Aid, and they are embracing risk and turning the normality, the tradition of Test cricket on its head and going, why do we have to do it that way? And they're shutting out all of the outside noise. Like there has to be a lot of respect, I think, played into that, both for McCullum and Stokes to do it, and then for the people to buy into it, right? Like Jimmy Anderson buying into it, saying that's one of the best Test victories I've ever been involved in, regardless of the spectacle. These players.
To be fair, Anderson's only won like one Test away from home in the last 5 years, so
that's probably one more than a lot of the side.
He's probably forgotten how
in his 176 Test matches.
Natalie Stone said it was the best anyone had captained ever. I think he said it was the best he'd ever seen anyone captain. Did you agree with that?
I can't really.
That's a big claim.
I don't. I must
You've got
admit,
a lot of stats. They've got a lot of stats when they don't matter about Coley.
I've got a lot
Ollie
of
Robinson.
a lot of lists in my head. I haven't stored away best captaincy performances from it.
Well, I mean,
I think
this
it's the most a captain's had to do to force a win in a game of cricket, isn't it? I mean, it's probably with hindsight, the benefit of hindsight, one of the best declarations we've ever seen, especially with timing. And Ben Stokes, what was interesting was when he got out on day 4 and was talking to Harry Brook and just basically had a lengthy conversation with him just to let him know exactly, I assume, what his thinking was. And
we're going to declare it T.
His thinking was, whatever happens, get enough runs because we want to declare it T because that's how long we think we need to bowl them out. And, that was a good thing. I mean, and the plans, like there was an obvious definitive plan to try and get people out caught down the leg side for half of today. And it worked like 3 times. It was good. It was really refreshing to see England coming up with ideas of how to get wickets when it looked nigh on impossible, and they just like chipped away. And I think from that point of view, there should be a lot of credit to the captaincy, but
long gone are the days, Max, are they? Or watching Joe Root just let a whole session just drift by doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll give Ben Duckett a go with the ball. Maybe that'll get us a wicket.
I'd agree with that. I mean, as much as I do think Pakistan are the masters of their own demise here. And they should have won that match. Yeah, I mean, they should easily have won. And as a whole, they shouldn't have picked the team they did. Before that, they shouldn't have picked the pitch they did. Probably shouldn't have the captain they've got. He's a fucking idiot. But I'm sorry. It's like,
why don't you?
They've sent the batting coach out, haven't they, to the next test ground to have a chat with the pitch maker. Babar Azam came out and said they had planned for a turner. And
had they?
Yeah, that's it. The way we had planned things, the pitch that we wanted, we didn't get as per our plans. We wanted a turning track, and our plans were based on that. Whether it's because of the weather or was it prepared in that way, we didn't get what we had planned.
So where's all the spinners they picked?
Yeah, I was like, they dropped Mohamed Nawaz. They didn't. I mean, Yasir Shah wasn't even in the squad. They didn't pick the guy who bowls spin, has done really well in the first class.
Mission spinner.
Abra, yeah. I'm not buying that at all.
It's a lie. That's why he wanted this pitch, and now it's really embarrassing that they've lost because they spectacularly bottled it. I mean, this is South Africa World Cup levels of bottling.
Yeah, but you've got to think why it's really important, right? Cricket, as we know, is a batsman's game, and it's all about hitting centuries. And Babar Azam has notched up another one.
He did get one.
I tell you what,
so I take it back. He's not a fucking idiot. He's a genius.
He is.
Because what he's done there, he's padded his own stats.
Yeah, he's the new King Legend. Do we need to pivot from King Legend to Babar Azam here?
I don't know, but I want to just a bit of congratulations needs to go to Imam Ul Haq, who is single-handedly riding his Test career on batting at Rawalpindi.
I mean, it's preposterous. Some of this stuff.
Fielded very well as well for someone of the Ul Haq clan. I was surprised at his athleticism.
Didn't get out once, hit wicket, did he?
Anyway, what I was saying was, despite all of Pakistan's self-sabotage, it is properly one of the most incredible victories you'll ever see. Like the chances of England pulling off a win after you'd seen one session on this surface. After one session on this surface, the chances of a win were pretty slim. And they got slimmer and slimmer and slimmer and slimmer pretty much the whole way through the test until the suicide declaration. And they got a little bit better for England and a lot better for Pakistan. And England somehow managed to pull it out the bag. It is, they took early wickets which they really needed to do. A huge gamble. I mean, like, I don't know what. It's mad the gamble that they took, but it came off. What did they have? Pakistan. They pick up the 2 wickets last night. Babar Azam, one of them.
25 for 2.
Shafiq as well is a bit of an immovable object. They're probably the 2 guys you want, to be honest, in that lineup.
Yeah, Shafiq's really good. When I was watching him play in the first innings, he looked quality.
Yeah, he's probably one of the few players this that comes out of it with any credit whatsoever. It's him and Imam, I think. And then, what did Pakistan get up to? 170 for 3. The game's
Yeah.
you're in major trouble there. I mean, they're scoring about 3 and over, so they might not.
And that
make
was
the
while
run
they were
rate,
trying
but...
not to score runs as well. They
But
accidentally
did.
scored at 3 and over.
But they did. They did get up there, and then even at tea, what is it, 250-ish,
They
255?
needed like 90 with
Yeah.
5 wickets in hand.
Um,
A session. I mean, that should have been
Incredible stuff.
comfortable.
Really incredible stuff. Particularly, I think from Robinson. Anderson was good. He's usually good, but I think Robinson, as the one bowler in the match that actually got the ball to move to an extent that was properly uncomfortable for proper batters.
Whose wicket was it that jagged back the LBW? Was that it was
Salmon. I
Yeah.
think it was Salmon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a cracking delivery on a pitch that done absolutely nothing to extract that.
Yeah, I mean, you could see actually from that. I thought this was quite bad batting from the Pakistani guy Salman. To be honest, but the way he's playing it is like you play on a pitch where the ball doesn't do anything. He's just standing there and he moves his bat.
Which, in
towards where he
fairness,
thinks
is
the ball
exactly
gonna
what
go.
had been happening for 4.5 days.
But this ball didn't do that, and I think that was dedication from Robinson and the England shining squad using like every bit of exposed
Leach's
flesh they
head.
could find, to shine the ball up. And I think that as away bowling performances go, it is monumental, like what England managed to pull off. Like to take the risk is a slightly different question. Maybe we could. Dan Weston asked us a question about declarations. So we'll answer that then. To take the risk is maybe dubious, but to actually execute it was
astounding,
pretty nuts. Yeah, and they're living. Yeah. They are living the talking the walking the talk, living the
walking the walk,
living the
putting their money where their mouth is.
Money where their mouth is.
What would be
when it comes to we're prepared to lose to avoid drawing.
What I would very much like to see is whether England would be quite so out there with their declaration if it was, say, 1-1 in the Ashes with a couple to play, rather than completely out of the World Test Championship and just playing a Test match,
free rolling
for a laugh.
Gordon Henderson free roaming.
Maybe their opinion of Pakistan is similar to mine. Maybe they just think this is a team of cowards. Like they won't try and get this score. It wouldn't shock me. It's absolutely baffling to me, the Pakistan approach.
It's not even a small victory though. Like a small margin of victory. Like 74 runs is that's a big chunk.
They
gave up after tea. It was really weird. They could still win that quite comfortably after tea, and they didn't try.
Yeah,
they didn't try it. Yeah, all day. I mean,
I think I've always said that as well. Like where all the field was in, just be like, you know what? I'm going to buy a ticket here. I'm literally just going to go after it. The ball's not really carrying. Like you might as well go for it. It's not going to be that much of a risk. England's bowling has been typically their stronger suit. It's probably fair to say over the last kind of couple of years. Yeah. But playing in these conditions, that is pretty alien. You haven't got kind of Stuart Broad. You've got Jimmy Anderson, who's 40. But this is, according to Matt Roller, friend of the show and ESPN journalist, we've taken 10 wickets out of the 15 test innings since McCullum and Stokes took over. Now, that is pretty staggering. Every single innings we've managed to take. We've taken all 10 wickets. And
some of the wickets in England were
conducive.
Not all. Some of them, though. The South Africa series, in particular, was pretty easy to take wickets on.
Juicy Lucy, yeah, definitely.
The other ones, it was good earlier in the summer when, apart from when Darryl Mitchell was batting. Yeah.
He would have enjoyed batting today.
Oh, mate, he loved it. I would go as far. I would say if you took, I don't know, basically any one of the Pakistan players apart from Babar and Shafiq out and put in Darryl Mitchell, I think Pakistan win this match. Just somebody who'd be like, yeah, I can get these runs. Like spineless, absolutely spineless from Pakistan.
If we've got any Pakistan listeners left at this point, please leave your comment in the YouTube.
I can't believe that they've managed to lose this match.
To be fair, I would say there's a few Pakistani guys in my cricket team, and they're not exactly impressed with Pakistan and the way they've behaved, conducted themselves in this game, selection and otherwise.
Did you see that the ESPN journalist who does Pakistan? Daniel Rasool, I think, is the guy,
Mm.
wrote an article basically about how cowardly Pakistan are.
I did
And
see
he
that
used
article,
it. Yeah. Well, what did he say? He was like, rather than go out and try and win the test match, Pakistan had batters basically preferred to hide in the toilet and try and kill time.
that was
literally happened.
that was so
Literally,
funny.
they had
happened.
players who were like, instead of going out there on the world's easiest pitch and like trying to do something, we're going to block for the draw or whatever they were doing earlier on in the day. And then when things get tight, go and run away to the toilet. Like, I do. Can you see why I've got no respect for them? Like,
I forgot about
that. I forgot about
absolutely shameful.
I was pretty gutted that there wasn't more gamesmanship from them, if I'm perfectly honest. Like, if you could have
I suspect, Ross, after the guy tried to hide in the toilet, they got a real bollocking and were told off.
But I was really hoping there'd be more. I'd been pretending cramp. I think there was a bouncer that hit Naseem on the wrists.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't.
I'd have been down. I'd been like, referee, I need to umpire. I need to.
Yeah.
Coming
well,
in.
That's exactly what happened back in the UAE, wasn't it? When was it 2015-ish or something? When England were in a similar position, but they were
90 off 10 overs or something.
Yeah, and nearly got there, and Pakistan were doing all sorts of all that kind of stuff from the other point of view.
But they didn't even. I mean, that's part of it. They didn't even really fight in this Test match. They just turned up, and I presume thought that the pitch would do the work for them. And England decided we're not going to do that. I mean, like, really, really full credit to England. I think it was a dreadful Test match. I would never watch Test cricket if it was like this regularly. I think it will kill the sport.
The reason I quite liked it was because of the novelty of England bashing the ball around. The stupid bits around, like I said, Joe Root batting left-handed and all the crazy shots that were going on and then obviously the ending. But I think you are right that novelty would die fairly quickly.
But,
if we were seeing pitches that were so bad that Joe Root was batting left-handed for a laugh every week, that's not good.
Yeah,
it'd be funny if England got 1,000 runs in the next game. If we literally went for the 1,000 first innings, let's go for 1,000.
Win by an innings.
Yeah, I
think 500 overs straight.
I think it is really genuinely properly incredible, and we should say that over and over again, that England managed to pull the pants down of this Pakistani team, basically, despite all of the barriers put up in front of them. I mean, that stat alone, what did I say? 691 more deliveries.
Yeah.
Imagine that, and you couldn't get 74 more runs off those 691 balls.
What
you're getting outscored
74 off 691.
You're getting outscored that badly,
like 0.7 and over or something.
yeah, exactly. You can't score at 0.7 and over quicker in a Test match where the other team are literally scoring at 7 and over across their two.
And the ball's deviation is what, maybe half an inch.
Like that is really, really poor, and it's incredible from England to overturn that deficit. 600 and what is that? 115 overs? Is that right, Max?
What's that?
691 balls, 115 overs.
Yeah.
Extra batting you get if you're Pakistan on the world's easiest pitch.
That's more overs than substantially more overs than it took England to score 657 or whatever it was.
Should we talk about Pakistan's general?
Can I just one more thing on the pitch, because this, like, I really want to impress upon people how fucking stupid this was. Crickviz to have like attacking shot percentages and stuff like that. England were able to attack 59% of the balls in the match, which I think is about the same as you do in a T20. Like, so virtually risk-free, England were able to score runs. Also, in the entire history of Hawkeye, so this is 700 tests, the false shot percentages, so like, in other words, how often people play a shot and it goes wrong, doesn't go where it's supposed to, was the 44th lowest. So England are playing like T20 levels of aggression here. And even with that factored in, normally there's supposed to be a risk-reward balance in Test cricket. You'd think if you were the most aggressive team ever, you'd be playing, you'd be up there in the false shot percentage. No, 44th lowest. Like it's in the lowest 10%, lowest 5% nearly of pitches ever with that measurement. I think that's always a good one to look at.
Yeah, I quite like that as well, Jack, because you've got Zach Crawley, who can't really buy a run in Test cricket, and he just loves batting against Pakistan. Ben Duckett hadn't played a Test match in 6 years, 7 years. Coming up to that.
Zach Crawley hadn't also played cricket in about 6 months.
Yeah, Ollie Pope, as we said, was wicket keeping forever. Johnny Bairstow not in the side. Liam Livingstone out with a knee injury, still played and hit more runs than some of the other the Pakistani batters in that team. It is a staggering result. But we should talk about Pakistan's general conservatism, because Babar Azam is the captain across 3 formats. They play very conservative T20 cricket. They play very conservative Test match cricket. ODI cricket is relatively conservative at the best of times anyway. Is it time for a change in captain, Max? Will Babar be given the old elbow?
I've seen nothing to suggest that he's doing a good enough job to keep it, but I would it would be remiss of me to suggest someone to take over from him, and who that might be. So I'm going to give him the opportunity to make up for his misdeeds, but certainly perhaps maybe Asad Shafiq, if he continues sort of in the vein he's in, or get Fawad Alam back in, because he's a bit eccentric and maybe he can do something a bit more interesting than Babar Azam. But I mean, if they carry on like this, then you have to.
They might get another draw.
You have to look at people in charge, but there's so many people in charge that you could have a go at. It's changing the captain in Pakistani cricket. I don't think is going to get you that far. I mean, when you've got Ramiz Raja spouting all that nonsense about pitches, did you see that interview he gave after the first day, when it was just he simultaneously said it was his responsibility, not his fault, everyone else's fault, and it was just the most ridiculous stream of bollocks I've ever heard.
Coward. They need
today,
people
today I am a coward. Today I am Ramiz Raja.
It was. I mean, no one will take ownership of this, and so that's why no one will.
Yeah, it'll be the groundsman's fault. That's what they're trying to do, isn't it? They're trying to make the groundsman the scapegoat. That is what's happening. He was
talking about needing drop-in pitches, but we can't afford drop-in pitches.
Why do you need drop-in pitches?
We haven't had the facilities to make Test cricket pitches in Pakistan because we haven't been playing Test cricket in Pakistan for ages. Surely you've had all the time in the world to make a good pitch in Pakistan. I
don't look. If it happened once, I wouldn't really have a problem with it. Everyone makes mistakes. There is an element of truth. There is an element of truth. The fact, there's an element is the truth. They haven't been playing a lot of Test cricket in Pakistan, and you're probably not on a bang up wage, are you? If you're the groundsman at the Pindi Stadium,
no, but like you said, they've been putting out first class pitches.
Yeah,
that are good. We know they can do it.
They have been doing that, and this is the 4th in a row, which has been exactly the same. You can't tell me that this isn't a plan anymore. And the way Pakistan bat, you can't tell me that it isn't a plan to go out there and effectively try and get a draw. They didn't see England get 600 in 100 overs and think,
we can do that.
The only way to win this match is to get 800 in, maybe 150. Maybe we won't score at that rate, but pretty easy pitch to bat on, isn't it?
We're going to have to bat even more slowly to get a draw on this.
England only picked 3 bowlers. If we see off Anderson and Robinson, then who's going to do the bowling for this team? Instead, no, they scored really slowly and let England chip away, got battered again in the next innings, and then bottled it. It's bad. That was cathartic. I think it's going to be exactly the same next week. We got some questions.
It's not even next week, is it? It's 3 days time.
Yeah, Friday. Isn't it?
Strap in.
Right. Do you want to do questions?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Let's do some questions.
Cool. This is a good one. Random cricket stats. Terrible name for your son or daughter. Rank the 7 centuries in the match. That's a good one. That is a really good question. I'm going to say Babar Azam for being a coward generally. Your bottom.
You're 7 of the list.
Yeah. Imam and Abdullah Shafiq. I think Imam's slightly better because he gets more runs. You can counter this if you want. And Abdullah Shafiq both scored them much slower than Babar, but they have to open the batting. And as far as we know, they're not cowards. We know for a fact now that Babber is a coward. I look forward to the reviews coming in on this episode. Leave a comment on YouTube if you think Babar Azam is a coward. Then I'm going to say Ben Duckett, Pope, Crawley, Brook, Best.
Fair.
I think that's fair. From the Pakistan, Babar Azam's was probably slightly better than the other two on the face of it, on the cricketing face. But I will allow you to demote him for coward points, and then Harry Brook is comfortably. I mean, a strike rate at 131.
In his second test match.
Test match. It was a great innings. And Ross, you're right. Like earlier on, I hated Pakistan so much that it was difficult to really properly give England credit. But it's England have absolutely forced this. Like they didn't get given any of this. Pakistan got given an opportunity to win this game. England had to fight hard for any chance, and they had to fight all the way through the match. Against
it was
Pakistan,
a very
against the pitch.
victory.
Yeah, it was. It was a very Stokesian victory. It was a real masterpiece. That I can't see a more Stokesian victory being.
Is this
achieved.
the pinnacle though? Is this the pinnacle of Bazball? It's all downhill from here.
If it is, it's
worth it.
I'd say it was pretty incredible. More questions?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Next one. Gurjot says, after the end of day one, should the ICC have intervened and asked both teams to base the result of the game on stick cricket, as it would have been more entertaining rather than watching Babba smash Root and Jacks for a century?
I think England did try to play stick cricket just in person, didn't they, on their second innings? So maybe that's what they went with.
I hope they get loads of demerit points, but I suspect they won't.
Yeah, the ICC's guidelines will be like, did 20 wickets fall?
Yeah.
Was there more than 500 runs hit? Kind of thing. There'll be some very loose criteria that
they got a demerit. Do they get a demerit point in the Australia test?
They got one, yeah.
We've got 3 from Vinay. Well, we'll do them all because we've got a little bit of time. What is the one most critical change a team like India can learn from England? What can anyone learn from England in Test cricket? Is a broad question. Max, what do you think?
I think they need to sort their T20 cricket out first, and then and then go from there. But it's just a question of mentality, isn't it? I think the what they said about we don't want to draw this game, we want to put ourselves into a position to win, even if it will make us more likely to lose. I think that's something that every team in Test cricket can learn from. Maybe not to the extent that we saw in this Test, because that was the very extreme of doing that. But negative declarations happen a lot, and there are so many times where we say teams have just not given themselves enough time to bowl the other side out, and I think teams just do need to be a bit braver from that point of view. And I think that is one thing that I would like to see everyone take away from this. That would be nice.
I think the fearlessness in general, or the lack, that's the same thing, isn't it? Lack of fear is fearlessness. Generally, when it comes to losing, is something a lot of teams can. And a lot of like cricket in general is very risk averse sport. Even in like recreational cricket, when the draw's an option, you see teams like start blocking out for a draw. And they need 5. It happens. It happens a lot, even in like friendly cricket. Like it's
like 40 over in limited overs cricket. You can't draw. And some people just like, why are you batting like that? Just so they have a bit of a day out, I think.
Yeah. It's extremely. It's
or because Ross is on the other team and they want to piss him off because he's really annoying. Something like that.
Still beat him in a smash a century afterwards. Whatever.
It's an extremely risk averse sport, and I think losing something. I think as well. The thing we can all learn from this is don't be Pakistan. Don't do that with your pitch. The main thing I've learned from this match, like as good as England were, somebody needs to do something about pitches in world cricket, because it's not right. There's so many of them are shit.
It was also hilarious that home advantage counts for so much in Test cricket, and Pakistan have gone the opposite direction.
Handed it all over on a plate.
That is really funny too. It's like, we've got the least penetrating bowlers on earth. Should we A, give them some assistance with the pitch, or B, make it impossible for them to take wickets.
Or Harris Ralph also got injured. We don't even mention it. Harris Ralph injured. They've literally got this battery of the home of creating fast bowlers. And it's just like, no, we're going to make you running on concrete every single day and you're going to injure you all.
Vinay says, is Bazball now condition-proof strategy which works in any possible situation? I think right. Go on, Ross. You go.
I think no is the answer for now. I think going and playing on a proper turner is going to be the proof of the pudding. And I also think you need to take it to Australia as well. As much as we can kind of sit there and say you're going to bat Rose, like, when it's properly fast and when it's properly turning, it hasn't been
tested against extra turn and extra bounce yet.
We're kind of like a boxer going up. We're playing against we're playing on pitches and lesser opponents to build ourselves up for the big title fights. That's what it feels. That's what it feels like.
Bazball as a concept didn't work, remarkably well against South Africa in the summer. They lost one test. They did Bazball at South Africa in the second and got 400 for 9 declared, which is, that's good. And then in the final test, 118, 169 with South African scores. England themselves were bowled out for 158 and then chased 130 on the final day, which was quite easy to win. So you wouldn't say any of them were resounding, apart from the second one. You wouldn't say it was a foolproof plan there when the pitches were a little bit harder. And you'd actually say that if South Africa could bat at all, they might have won that series. South Africa was so poor with the bat that England kind of got let off. I think in these circumstances, it's by far the best strategy if you want to try and win. England, that 691 ball stacks is
the only way.
Story
it's the only way you can win a game on that pitch.
You need 100
the other team being genuinely awful.
We also have those type of players, I think, which some people forget. We don't really have great test match players, but we do have an incredible battery of limited overs players. So they've just gone, we're going to apply what we do have into this area and see if it works. I used to love Dom Sibley. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see Dom Sibley back for 200 balls for 70 runs.
Finished.
So,
right. Do you want to do the Dan Weston question? We've got 3 more. We'll get through them quickly. Dan Weston says, declaration, opinions on whether it was a question of a bad decision which yielded a positive result.
Well, what I do want to touch on this one is people's reaction to it and the traditionalists versus people being like, let's embrace and kind of go for it. Where did you sit on that spectrum? I've not been on our Twitter for a couple of days. What was the feeling? Was it like kind of Jonathan Agnew saying this is disgrace versus
a lot of people thought it was quite bold. A lot of people thought it was the wrong choice. Okay. I think a lot of people also pointed out that England have got 3 bowlers, and it seems particularly odd when you factor in that they've only got 3 bowlers. So I think most people were of the opinion it was a bad decision. Then England took 2 quick wickets. People were like, "Oh, maybe not." And then I think actually probably by tea today, people were like, "Oh, England have blown it because of the declaration." I think that a big part of the question here, in terms of whether you think it was a bad decision or not, is whether you think there is value in achieving a draw. How do you value a draw versus a win and versus a loss? So if you think drawing is as bad as losing, then it's a great decision.
There's sort of a nuance to a draw, right? On a pitch like this, I'm looking at a draw thinking that I'm not interested in a draw because that's really boring. It's not good for cricket. It's what you'd expect. It's not much fun. If you're behind the 8 ball and you're trying to survive, then there's obvious value to a draw, and you should fight tooth and nail for it. And it's, I guess, a little victory, isn't it? Because in a way, you're denying the other side a win. In this case, it was almost like trying to win was denying the other team the satisfaction of putting out this bullshit pitch and trying to make it a really boring contest. And I thought it was slightly excessively bold, bordering on foolhardy, but I still really liked it because I thought, look, they've obviously gone, how long do we need to bowl this side out? Normally, you think the final day is usually a good amount of time to bowl a side out. we lose overs at the end. So they've gone, okay, well, we need a bit more for that. And we need more because the pitch is really flat. It might do something and we might be able to do it. And on the other side, there was enough of a carrot to make them go for it to get wickets. And they needed the carrot to make it work how it was. So I liked it at the time. I still liked it at lunch or halfway through the second session when it looked like England were going to lose, because I guess I didn't really care if England were going to lose because it was kind of meaningless. Now, with the Ashes, I think I might feel differently. That's the only thing.
I think it was interesting as well of saying that, and Arash, one of our Patreons, he listed a load of TV shows yesterday, and there's a TV show called Suits in it, and there's a quote in Suits that gets made of you play the man, not the game, kind of thing, right? That is that. Jack,
episode.
And Jack, what you said about England thinking that Pakistan were cowards in that regard, I think that had a big part to play in it, and I think that was one of the bits where they were just like, you know what? Pakistan just aren't going to go for this. We are in control of what is going to happen here. We're going to go and do this. And I think that is the bit that kind of came into it for me. And I love the decision. I am very much at draws are boring. I think depending on the circumstance, if you're batting last and you're down to Monty Panesar and Jimmy Anderson in the Ashes, then it's great theatre. But when you're in Pakistan on a highway, it's pointless.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I would say probably it was a bad decision. Like my take on this is that obviously it works out spectacularly in England's favour because they win it so late as well. And if they declared any later, then they wouldn't have, as things transpired, been able to win. But we don't know. It's a counterfactual, isn't it? Like saying they could have retired later or declared later. I would say the declaration took England's chances of winning. I think I said this earlier, from maybe 10%. To maybe, at best, they doubled their chances of winning to 20%. But in order to do that, Pakistan's chances of winning went from at best 1% to most of the rest of the possibilities for the outcome of the game, maybe 70%. So what you're doing is you're giving Pakistan, through no hard work on their part, you're giving them a 69% higher chance of winning that match. Like they are literally 70 times more likely to win the match because you've declared that, and you are twice as likely to win the match. And I feel like that is giving the other team too much equity, if you like, in the outcome of the cricket match. If you batted for 10 more overs and got 90, which England were well capable of doing, Pakistan cannot win the match and England probably still got a 10% chance of winning.
So I thought we should have batted for not even 10 overs, 5, and tried to get 50. Yeah. And we might have done that if Harry Brook was still there. Harry Brook having his stump splattered maybe changed things. But
I think the way it worked out though, I remember Sergio Ramos said this after a Champions League final. I think Real won on penalties, and someone asked him like, "Oh, you didn't play very well. Like, would you have changed like how you played, or do you think the coach got it right?" And Ramos was like, "I wouldn't have changed a thing. Like, winning on penalties is way better than winning another way." And I feel like in this circumstance, giving Pakistan such an easy chance, or such a giving them this massive carrot, and them doing what they did and blowing it on their special pitch, with all of the credit they had in the bank as well. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Tell you what else is going to do that declaration. Absolutely blow up betting on cricket when England are playing a test match. Because the odds are all based on all of the data that there's ever been. And that's completely irrelevant now. So that's good fun. At one point yesterday, Pakistan were 9-1 to win. And I thought about a little flutter because I thought England are going to do a weird declaration and give them a chance. I didn't do it. I bottled it. I Pakistaned it. I bottled it.
It was a great decision.
By the time England declared, I probably could have just cashed out.
Yeah. Right. 2 more questions. Nelberg says, how many safe draws would you happily trade in order to gain one spectacular win like we got today? Ross?
I don't want any safe draws anymore. So,
100.
The lot of them. Yeah. The rest of time for one spectacular.
You would lose 100 test matches to gain one win.
Yeah. In terms of the draw, if the option is to have a spectacular one or a boring draw, I'd rather always go for the spectacular.
I think
one.
that I think the
obviously.
question is how many boring draws would you rather lose in order to win one test?
Yeah.
Again, it's like that bit where McCullum and Stokes have taken over this England team, where we were at the bottom of the pit. We were fully despair. We were every letter of the word despair at the bottom of a horrible pit, and whatever they did was going to be an improvement. But this is so removed from the not win. We got what? We won one game in 18 Test matches before. Like this is we're not used to this. This is not for England history. Like we are not used to this bounce back.
Yeah, it's good. Mask asked to finish us off. As fun as the batting was, how high would you rate the bowling and field placing in the fourth innings on this pitch? The best by England in the past decade or so. Their planning and execution was top notch. I'd say it's probably the best by England in the last decade.
Yeah,
I've
never seen them try and do so much as well as execute it.
They did work hard.
They came out with a new ball and bowled exclusively bouncers,
and also
from the spinner. So that's what I liked. Joe Root was bowling literally. He had to. Immanuel Huck went and got a helmet because Joe Root was coming on. That is ridiculous. And I also thought that Will Jacks, one of your Surrey boys, Max, did really well in the first innings and must have split his finger open or something like that because he was bowling so much. Because he didn't bowl. He only bowled 6 overs in the second innings after taking 6 for.
Leach didn't even bowl that much, did he?
I think
they found some reverse swing and they just went with it.
I think they decided that's what they were going to do, and it worked. And I think it's the first time that 9 wickets have been taken by seamers in the fourth innings in Asia since 1983.
Wow, I mean, and
that's
I think
40 years. 40 years of orthodoxy thrown up in the air, destroyed by Ben Stokes.
Yeah, well, Afas said that spin bowlers in the fourth innings in Pakistan have the worst average out of all bowlers. So, playing to the stats. Lemon Land is doing well.
If Pakistan keep dishing out these roads, likely to happen. Surely it's 3-0 to England. Predictions for the rest of the series.
I do think that Pakistan will find some balls, I reckon, for want of a better term. There will be another draw in here somewhere. I think there will still be. We can't have this kind of ridiculousness happening every single Test match. There will be a ball draw.
Oh no, I feel like I think it's good that the away team went 1-0 up early. Because now the other team have to come out and play a little bit.
Yeah, especially if they still actually, I don't know, can they still make the World Test Championship final?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can.
I mean, they need to win, don't they? So if they have any interest in it.
I mean, it's just this stuff as well. It's like no logic applied to their situation. No. Like if 4 tests, if they'd won 2, lost 2, if they'd lost 2 by 1 billion runs, like even worse than this, and won the other 2 by 1 wicket. Like they'd have more points and they'd be favourites over India to make the final, which surely they want.
It'd be nice if Pakistan actually picked their best 11. That'd be just quite a nice start. If I'm perfectly honest. Where's Shan Masood? Where is Shan Masood?
I think it's amazing the crowd that was there and the passion's obviously there for the Pakistani game and the history of it and the fact that they are this team of, or traditionally speaking, this team of fighters and they have a brand. And cricket has come home, and they're happy to play on these pitches. It's baffling to me.
Maybe they thought they'd be given a game. If Mahmood was given a game, they thought that they were going to get one.
What the crowd? Yeah. I know. I reckon it could well be 1-1. The thing with Pakistan is like they can't really. There's no score that they'll be happy defending in the fourth innings, so they're.
They'll never declare ever.
Yeah, they'll never declare ever now, will they?
England, Bazball's actually ruined cricket. Rather than getting people to be more bold with their declarations, they now know whenever they play England, nothing is safe and they'll bat forever.
Terrified of letting England have time in the game to bat otherwise. Maybe they'll just retreat. Anyway, should we wrap up, boys? Done a long one.
Mm.
Brazil are like 9-0 up. 4-0 at half time.
Oh,
right.
Dear.
Good game.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Enjoy the football.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.